All right, we are live. All right. Go ahead and get this podcast started. Hello. I always have my intro music. Which one is it?
What the kids do now?
Yes. That's. I think. Well, we'll get into that later. So, hello. Oh. Gotta start recording first. Been doing all this talking, and then I have no audio. So, yes, today it is our District 3 podcast. We have special guest Echo here, Miss Sonia and Miss Troya, and we have Ben and Jocelyn with D3. The Councilwoman is out of town last minute for, I'm not sure what for, but something very important, because that is what she does. So we are so thrilled to have back Echo to talk about the state of Echo right now, and just let us know what's happening and how we can support.
Yeah, first off, I want to say thank you. We always have a fun time here, and we love what I would say partnering with individuals that have the same spirit that we do about just taking care of our community. So we'll excuse Councilwoman Parrish-Wright today, only because I know she's doing something very important. But yeah, we just want to say thank you again for bringing us on and just being a great support to Echo. You know, as I'm laughing here, I want people to understand that, you know, humor is still one of the best forms of healing. And Echo, we are not removed from what is happening, you know, in the state of nonprofits right now.
Right.
Some have been really affected by federal grants. Some just by funding, you know, that is not trickling through the doors. And if I could just really get personal, and if I happen to cry, just know that it's my true emotion.
Yeah.
Echo right now, we've been around for over 42 years. Our whole history started around the missing of Ann Gottlieb. And so when we are out in the community, a lot of people remember, you know, that incident with Ann and really how it impacted not just them as an individual, as a child, but how it had an impact as a whole for the community. And so we've been doing this work for a long time. We've also been doing this work free of cost up until this past year. Just another way for us to generate revenue so that we can be here for a long time. And so we love our partners with our JCPS and our youth serving organizations, and we love that support. But even with that support, we are at the detriment of closing our doors. And for someone who came into this space that has a lot of hope and a lot of belief in our mission and what we do, and I've seen the work that my staff do with the kids. Yeah. And not just with the kids, but also with the families in this community. It is disheartening. I don't want anyone to think that you have to have large pockets of money to be able to support an organization. And right now, we need that support. We need that support. Any amount is going to be, a great amount. What we are seeing is that the severity of the issue is not going away. With technology, we have seen where kids have been impacted by technology that has even resulted into community violence around shooting.
And just to remind our listeners, let us know what Echo does.
Yeah, I sure will. So Echo, our mission is to prevent and reduce the incident and impact of child abuse by providing education, advocacy, and support services to the children and families of Metro Louisville. When I say this, I want everybody to understand we are one of the only in this community that partners with public and private schools and youth serving organizations, and we go into the classroom and we talk to kids about body safety and internet safety. We still have that whole narrative of stranger danger.
Right.
I've been trying to change that narrative for probably about the last 5 years, because we know that the individuals that hurt our kids are not majority strangers. It is someone that our kids know. So 90% of kids that are abused by someone they know and trust. Of that, 30% can tend to be a family member. And I love that I have Miss Jocelyn here because she's within a school system. So I love when we are given this information and it's being able to be backed up by a reputable individual that sees what we are talking about. We have seen increase in cyberbullying, which can result in suicide. We have seen where cyberbullying has been taken to the streets,
Right.
and it has, in committing violence. We have seen the increase of extortion, so with trafficking and things of that nature. But what we have not seen is an organization that is coming in like us to be able to provide those protective factors for children since stranger danger.
Right.
That has not been in the schools for over 10 years.
There.
So we need to be in the schools with these kids to help minimize some of the behaviors that are going on, but we got to start early.
Yeah.
We got to start talking to our kids, and we got to have people that are creating safe spaces for our children to be able to talk to safe adults before they do commit a violent act or, these behaviors that we are seeing and things of that nature. And so, I am really here just really pleading. I am a very introverted crossover extrovert, really pleading from my heart, and, shedding my tears that our community will rally behind our organization and say, yes, my child has experienced being bullied. I didn't know what to do or who to go to. Yes, my kid has seen some pornographic images, or someone was talking to them through the internet. Yes, my kid has been touched on, and we have not prepared our kids of allowing them to know what the rights of their bodies are and things of that nature. So when I talk about violence, the thing that I want people to understand is the first violent act towards a child is abuse. And the first responsibility that we should be doing as public safety is making sure that our kids are safe.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I'm really glad you brought that up, because when I was in school back in, I'm not going to say back when, but I remember there was this, I'll call her seasoned, because we don't use senior, the Councilwoman first season for adults that are older. But I remember she would just come in, and that's what she would reiterate. Stranger danger, right? And it was like, just stranger danger, and she just encouraged us kick and scream and yell, and that was that was like the brunt of like, and there was nobody. Well, I grew up out in Bullitt County, so that's probably a little different. But there was nobody, and I was blessed not to have been abused as a child, but there was nobody telling me, hey, this is what body safety looks like, or this is what could come of that, or even what a trusted adult was. Can you speak more to like a trusted adult and a safe adult?
Yes, thank you for that. We do not use the language of trusted adults, because as you just heard me say, when they know and trust. So why would we tell children to go find trusted adults opposed to a safe adult? Trust is, it's hard for kids to embody what trust can mean, because we know that even children that have been abused, even maybe by their parent, they still trust their parents. But kids can actually identify the difference between being safe and unsafe. And so that's why we use safe adults. And safe adults have a responsibility to make sure that you are providing safety for that child, that you are creating an environment where the child feels comfortable coming to you and speaking up and speaking out, making sure that when they do speak up to you, that there's no blame, there's no shame in what the child is disclosing, to you. And your ultimate responsibility is trying to provide that safety. So it can be either taking over the incident maybe on the internet or in those digital spaces and blocking. It may even go something as strong as therapeutic services. So that is the biggest difference, and you'll hear my staff, and we're slowly changing that language in our community, but we really want kids to understand what safe adults are. And, to your point, we had, Ms. Parrish-Wright to come and speak at our breakfast, and the story that she talked about, with her own abuse that was happening. And, I think about all these individuals that are adults that did not have the confidence, or maybe they didn't have the support to be able to speak up and speak out. And now as adults, they may be wrestling with certain things. And those are the individuals that know exactly what it is and how important it is for us to be in the classroom, because we hear it over and over from adults. I wish something like this was in my classroom. I wish something was like this. Well, we are here, but financial support is needed to carry out the mission. And so, you know, I don't want to sound like a broken record.
No, it's important.
But nonprofits, we are here with boots on the ground and really trying to help build a positive community for everyone. And so we must look at what are we doing to protect our children before the guns get in the hands, before they start the fights, and before, you know, they have these, what we have realized is healthy relationships. You know, like when I was growing up, and I'm going to date myself now, but like, you know, on a lot of the shows, like you didn't even see like the husband and wife sleeping in the same bed. Well, we see all kinds of behaviors, you know, on TV and through movies and things like that. But realize that kids' brains are not fully developed until they're 25, 26. So if we're not talking to them, then they're going to make up their own, you know, reasoning as to what they're doing, why they're doing it, and all the behavior. So again, we are those individuals. Our organization goes into those classrooms where we can talk to kids one-to-one, and as much as we're sharing with them, we're learning from them as well.
Yeah. And so can you talk a little bit more about the ways that you are present in the schools and how important it is? Because to your earlier point, because it's true that if kids are abused, then that leads to worse outcomes, which could be the violence that we're seeing.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I don't claim to know everything, but I have worked with children for a long time. And again, I love that we have educators in here as well. A lot of times kids are looking for love. They need to be loved on.
Yeah.
And if we're not giving it, then they're going to go seek it. And so the presence of us coming into the classroom, and we work collaboratively, you know, with the school. We are a guest of the school, so we abide by rules and regulations and things of that nature. But think about this, you know, even with your own parents. Remember your favorite aunt or like your favorite cousin or something like that, because you felt like I can just be myself. I can just talk about really what's on my chest or what I may have seen. And that was a safe space for you to be able to disclose that. It's not always going to be children's going to say something to their mother or their father. And again, that's why we ask parents to help children to identify at least 2 to 3 safe adults, so that again, we can create that safe space. So when we're going into the classroom, we are already acknowledged that we are the safe adults. That is one of the things that we mentioned in the beginning of our trainings, is that we are the safe adults. We are not here to judge. We are here to protect. We are here to say, you know, provide safety for you. So we do our trainings, and at the end of the trainings, we do have a post-survey. And at the end of that survey, we have a little box, and it says if you do not feel comfortable speaking or saying anything, you can write or draw in this box. And that is where we receive majority of our disclosures. And last year, and I have Troy here, who's my program specialist. Last year, and I think this is phenomenal as well. You know, when we go into a school, we don't just go into one classroom. Our whole intention is to educate the entire school. I'm going to say that one more time. We educate the entire school, not just one class, so not just the 4th graders or the 2nd graders.
And that means teachers, lunch staff, custodial staff, admin staff, coaches, anybody that's in that building.
Yes, yes. And as far as with the kids, our program is pre-K through 12. And so we go in and educate the entire student population so that everybody is learning. And it is age appropriate, so the 1st graders, you know, they're learning something, but it builds, you know, on each grade. And so last year, actually I just did this report. In the last school year, we trained 6 entire schools. So don't tell me we're not doing the work.
And tell me how you did that.
By prayer and faith.
Right.
We were able to do that because, first off, I have a phenomenal staff. A phenomenal staff that comes in every day despite what we are talking about, because, you know, when you're talking about abuse, it is sensitive information. But I always say just because we're not talking about it does not mean that it's not happening. So
say that again.
Just because we're not talking about it does not mean that it's not happening. And so I grew up in the era where children know the important thing that you do in the community, and we know that you need to be here. With technology, this is not going away.
Right. And so let me ask you, for you and your staff to go into a school and do your program, how much does that cost?
You know what? We also are cost efficient, right? Because
Okay.
we're not trying to break the dollar for everybody. Because for us, we want to be able to provide the program. But as I mentioned, we have been free at cost for 41
Yeah,
years.
so it's free. This programming is free.
No, not anymore.
Oh, not anymore. Okay.
Not anymore. So what we did start doing is that we did start having a fee for cost for our trainings, and that is for us to be able to generate revenue so that I can continue to retain my qualified, very
Impeccable
educated staff
Mhm.
and things of that nature. So for a school, it costs $400.
Only $400.
That's what we always get, only $400. I see your face too, Jocelyn. But let me just say this. It's not enough. It's not enough. We just started this journey of creating this fee for service, and so we are at risk, as I mentioned, of closing our doors. Now the question to be asked is, what does it cost us a month to be able to keep everything going?
Yeah.
And for us, it is right around about $20,000 a month. Now
Which, that's still not.
We are a very cost efficient organization. Like, we are housed out of Bridges of Hope neighborhood place off of Algonquin. So we are blessed to be able to be in a shared space. I don't have to worry about overhead costs and things of that nature. The cost is making sure that we have reputable staff to be able to provide the program. And so even $20,000 is not enough. But right now, what we really need to keep our doors open is around about $100,000. And again,
For the rest of the fiscal year, or?
At least until the end of the year. Now,
Okay.
we do have some events that are coming up to give people opportunities to be able to, support us. As we look to the community, I'm crying out to the people that know about abuse and know the trauma that abuse carries. The individuals that have unfortunately experienced abuse as children, knowing what that dynamic was like for them. So I'm calling on those individuals to provide us hope by providing us with financial support so that no other child has to ever suffer at the hands of abuse, and or be educated about their own rights as well.
Educated about their own rights. That is really powerful stuff. And it is not expensive for the schools to do, but that is so you can stay, because it is so vital, the service. Can you tell us a story or two about, I don't want you to get into somebody's trip, but like the impact that you have seen from a family?
Yeah, I got one specifically, and I'm not going to mention the school.
Yeah, of course.
But we love JCPS.
Mm-hmm.
But we were in, this was an elementary school. It was not myself, but it was my staff.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing our lesson as usual. And, we gave the post survey, and the little girl just said, can I talk to you? And so, being the responsible adults that we are.
The safe adult.
The safe adults. We said, yes, we're going to talk to you. And this child disclosed to us, and again, you have to think that we have this image in our mind of what abused kids look like.
Mm-hmm.
Please remove that, because we never know. They can be the best dressed kids, or they can be the kids that, don't have all the luxuries of, clothing and things of that nature. This little girl, we happened to notice that her hygiene was very poor. So when my staff is speaking with her, putting on her active listening ears, because a lot of times as adults, we like to take over children's conversations. And this is something that we teach in our adult trainings, is that this is a time for us to listen. Kids do not disclose information the way that we want it to come out, right? They'll drop nuggets, and that's what I call it, nuggets, because they're going to see how we're going to react. They may share something like, I don't feel comfortable in my home. And you're like, oh, okay, tell me more about that. So they're testing us to see how we're going to react, and if we're going to react appropriately as far as how much they're going to share. Well, this little girl shared with us that her stepbrother was forcing her to touch him, and vice versa. No one in the house knew about this. No one in the school knew about this. Now, some individuals in the school had identified the poor hygiene. I think some of her grades were slipping a little bit, but it wasn't until she spoke with one of us, and then we connected, shared with the Frisky at that school what was going on. When I tell you it was a highlight of our moment, that we feel like, again, that we gave a child an opportunity to share what she was feeling, what was going on, and how we can help. And so we immediately created a safety plan. We called the mother. Mother had no idea because it was happening when she was gone. When we explained to the mother what was happening, she was most appreciative of not only the lesson that we was able to share in the classroom that kind of brought this out, for the little girl to disclose to us, but also how we collectively worked together with JCPS and the Family Resource Coordinator to identify that this was happening. And so we did go into a straight safety mode. Mom was able to talk to the individuals within her household, and whatever happened, my staff knew, like, in 2 weeks later, this little girl had a glow on her face. It was like she was like a whole different person. She wasn't coming in embarrassed or the head down or anything. Like she smelled great, and she, she started taking pride in her hygiene, and she was just a totally different little girl. These are the things that we do. These are the reasons why our organization needs to remain in this community, but we do need the support of our individuals, of our adults, just to help us, get to that next point. So that's one scenario.
And so just that example is how you were able to stop an active situation of abuse because of what you do.
Absolutely.
You saved a child's life.
Absolutely. We get calls a lot. Matter of fact, I just got a call about a week ago. A mom called and was talking about sextortion. And
now, what is that?
Yeah, let me share that with you. So, again, we're not only just in the community and working within the schools, but myself as executive director, I also try to take leadership in policies and making sure that we are creating policies that are going to be great and safe for kids. And so, with technology, I say that we are the digital immigrants, and that is anybody that is 1973, but our kids are digital natives, so they grew up in this digital space. And I remember in my policy meeting, I said, we're seeing more things that are happening in the classroom. And if you want to know about anything that is getting ready to drive the future, ask the teachers, because they see it before anybody. They see the things that are happening. And so we need to listen more closely to them and support them of what they're needing. And so we just started hearing like all this cyberbullying and all the, the unhealthy relationships and all these things. And so, thank goodness we had a legislative, Senator Julie Rocky Adams, who put out Senate Bill 73 around sextortion. And what sextortion is that it is a perpetrator that is manipulating a kid in digital spaces for exchange of, it could be photos, money, all these types of things. So you may have seen some stories where a kid may have posted, I'm going to say, a semi-nude photo, or even a nude photo, which is illegal in Kentucky. And let's say, kids are very trusting and they have thousands of followers, which I'm like, I don't know how that happens. I've lived longer than you all, and y'all got more people than I know. But a lot of times our kids do not know who's behind the screen. And we talk about that in the classroom. You don't never know who that is. Even if it's a picture, you don't know exactly who that is. And sometimes that individual behind that picture is not in your best interest. And so you may post a nude image or a semi-nude image, and then the perpetrator will start to say, I really like that image. Can you send me another one? Will you post another one? Well, as soon as the kid tries to take a stand and say no, that is when the perpetrator starts extorting that child. And it can look like this. If you don't send me more nude photos, then I'm going to share this one photo with everybody. And that has happened. If you don't send me more photos, or if you don't send me $300 or $3,000 or whatever the dollar amount is, then I'm going to share these photos. It can also look like self-harm, which again, when we're talking about cyberbullying and sextortion, it can lead into suicide. We have too many kids that we are losing to things that are preventable. Right now in Kentucky, we rank number 4 with having the highest child abuse rates in the nation. Over 15,000 victims here in Louisville alone. One victim is too many for me, but 15,000, you know, and again, that's why I love, you know, having this space to be able to talk about these difficult conversations, but it's happening.
Yeah.
But it's also 100% preventable as well. So that's what sextortion is, and now there is a new law that was just signed by Governor Beshear that perpetrators, there's a harsher penalty for perpetrators that are trying to extort our kids through digital platforms.
Okay, and you were saying something about that you teach some of that age appropriate in the classroom?
Absolutely. This term is not new to us at ECHO. We've been talking about sextortion for many years, but you know, sometimes it takes a minute for the law to catch up with what actually is happening, you know, within the city and things of that nature. So again, everything that we talk about with our kids is age appropriate. And then we also have adult trainings that we offer as well, so adults can be able to recognize, react, and report child abuse. And so we do have a new training that is called Sextortion 101.
So how would I get involved in that if I, you know, I'm not too hot with, you know, social media or these digital spaces, and I may have nieces, nephews, kids, grandkids that I really want to, how would I?
I'm gonna share this space with Troya because she has been so excellent of elevating information into our social media spaces. And so I'm gonna ask her just to share a little bit about where you can find some information and resources.
You can always find information on our social medias. So on Facebook, we're Exploited Children's Help Organization, or you can go to our website, echo-ky.org, and that's where you can find where we talk about more programs. You can see videos, or you can see photos of us in action. You can also see where you can request a program, or if you want more information, that has our contact numbers as well as our email.
So we have a lot of great information, tips, hints. If nothing else, on Wednesday, we always put out a guide that is around digital safety, and it can be around apps or around emojis or different types of behavior. So things like the Omegle app and the Monkey app, and if you're kind of like raising your eyebrow right now, then you go onto our Facebook page and you know, search for some of the information. But yeah, you know, reach out to us. We are always open to training anyone that their priority is making sure that kids are safe. And so we work, as I mentioned, with JCPS. We work with youth serving organizations. Today I just did a training with Family Scholars, so shouting them out. And we're getting ready to do some things with the Boys and Girls Club. And so we work collectively, you know, with youth, with organizations, faith-based organizations. So if it is something where, again, your priority is how can I learn about this, and who's going to train me in this space, along with some other individuals, then call us. And you know, we are always glad to be able to train any adult about how we can sharpen your skills about keeping kids safe.
Yeah, so if I'm maybe seasoned and I don't know about that Facebook, and I don't have one of those Facebooks, I can just call and say, hey, I'd like to join the training.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we would love to do in the future is to generate webinars. So it can be just on a one-on-one basis as an individual, and you would register and we will be able to give that webinar. In the meantime, you can always reach us again on our website, which is echo, ECHO-KY.org, or give us a call, 502-634-6063. We love the work that we do. We love the work that we do.
And it's so necessary.
It's necessary, but we really need the help. And so there are going to be some opportunities for our community to be able to support. You do not have to wait for these 2 days, let me just be clear. You don't have to wait for the 2 days. But, you know, we have a wonderful thing that's happening here in the community, Give for Good Louisville, which is a great platform to be able to share all the great work that nonprofits, you know, do here in this community. We also have our next upcoming event, which most people will remember, Bourbon and Bonbons. And so we have pivoted from that because we wanted an event that was more closely aligned with our mission. And so this event is going to be on Thursday, September the 25th from 4 to 8 at Churchill Downs. The ticket price is $100. We have phenomenal auction items. Look, we got a donated GE indoor, what is that, grill?
Smokeless
smoker
smoker.
grill.
I'm gonna have to bid.
We have...
I can only bid $15,
I
but
mean, you might get outbid, but that's okay. But we have jewelry, we have all kinds of things for everybody. But what I want to share on that event is that we listen to our community, we listen to our donors and our constituents. And so within this training now, it's not going to be a lot of entertainment. I'm going to be the entertainment because what we're going to do is that we want to provide a snippet of one of our trainings because we want people to really know the work that we're doing. And so we